Hold on, y'all, so y'all can see this. Hold on. Who in the world opened up the womb? What? Did somebody open up the womb? Come on, here we go. This where I'm at. This where I'm at. So in this document where I am kind of drawing an overshaped effect, depending on where the person is hit at, the womb can be more of a slit like where the edges are close together. In this case, he was hit in the chest, breaking the lining and fibrous tissues underneath our skin, causing separation of those margins. So instead of the margins being close together, as in a slit-like defect, the margins were more pulled apart and giving more of a gaping, oval-shaped defect in the center of his chest. Who pulled with a knife, pull the margins further apart and give it more of a gaping? Y'all, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just reading what the doctor is saying. Let me keep going. And that has to do with just the fibrous tissues underneath the chest area, causing the stress and the tension of the skin fibers to be pulled further apart. Who in the... Okay. I didn't know a stab wound pulls the skin apart. So in layman's term, the same knife can make two different types of wounds. Was Austin Metcalf given chest compressions by the coach when Austin was unconscious at the time? You can hear Austin choking on his... Ooh, y'all. What if somebody did something wrong at the scenes and... I ain't gonna say that. Oh, I ain't gonna say that. Let's keep going. So in layman's term, the same wound can make the two different types. Oh gosh, hold on. Let me share my screen. Because I like to share. Hold on. Okay, it's back up. So in layman's terms, thank you for that, baby girl. How you doing, baby girl? So and yo just happened to pop up in here. Hold on. In fact, Karmelo Anthony would need a hammer to drive that 3-inch knife. Come on, that's what I'm saying. But do y'all remember, right? The prosecution, he was trying to discount this medical examiner's what was it called? Impalement theory. Remember, it came out and we was talks before we started getting into these documents that Austin body's weight, he failed on it. So remember, the prosecution also talked about the impalement theory, which is why I'm reading her testimony, because I want her to see. Because you're right. Karmelo Anthony at 130, hey, the prosecution already called him a magician by how swift he moves. You're right. Karmelo Anthony would have to be a magician and also have the power of a he-man to deliver this force. No. I think the medical examiner, which the prosecution didn't like, was the impalement theory that Austin impaled himself on the weapon. Let's keep going. Come on with it, y'all. Hold on. But I agree with you. Karmelo Anthony, hold on. Karmelo Anthony would need a hammer to drive that 3-inch. And guess what? Karmelo Anthony, it only went in 2 inches, 2.5 inches, right? 2 inches. But I got you. Hold on. Was the knife stuck in the food? But hold on. What she say? Was the knife stuck in, but the foods removed it? Oh, he failed on it. Come on with it. So he was conscious. Yes. You don't do... That's what I'm saying. Something happened. That's what I'm saying. Which would be 213 pounds of pressure. You got it. That's why the prosecution did not like the impalement theory. Yes, because if he was breathing and the idiots turned on the AD, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. They did something at the scenes. Or he failed on it. Let's keep reading. Okay, so in layman's terms, the same knife can make two different types of wound on the body, a gaping or a split, depending on the layer of elasticity in the human body. Okay, she says, yes, correct. I believe those are called Langer's lines. Is that right, doctor? She says, yes. Okay, next question. You don't like when I use that term, do you? She said, no, it's just blank. If I am explaining it to somebody, it is better to kind of describe it. Okay. It always makes you smile when I say that to you, does it? Oh, are you flirting with the medical examiner? It always makes you smile when I say that to you, doesn't it? Langer's lines. That is, oh gosh. Okay, I just want to bring it up. In the path of the womb, again, I think we see it in your notes. I think you mentioned it once. It's through the cartilage of the sternum. She said yes. And then it penetrates the hardware. She answered, so it penetrates the heart in the right ventricle, and it completely went through the heart walls. It ain't no 213 pounds of pressure. That's what I think we finna go to. Okay. And in addition to the 2D body diagram like this, the photographs are taken. She says yes. And do you remember me coming over and meeting with you? It may have been 2 months ago now, and going through everything about this case, but specifically the photographs. They sure got a tight relationship, but maybe that's just protocol. But the prosecutor going to meet with the medical examiner, maybe it's protocol, y'all. Maybe it's protocol. Maybe we I don't know. Hey, if y'all know in the chat, because it seems like we have a very diverse and an intelligent community over here at Tony Talks Vested Up Compelling Sports Edge, let me know if it's common for the prosecutor or the defense to go talk to the medical examiner about the autopsy, the photographs. Let me know. He's trying to be cute. Okay. The quality of BCLS. Oh, what's up, Bunny? We talking your language tonight. CPR and use of manual clamps for continuous compressions did further damage affecting womb opening. I wasn't expecting that at that time. And y'all know I normally don't read comments doing a live. I guess tonight it's about that time. You said, yes, prosecutor, do meet with medical examiners to get an understanding of what they're looking at. Okay. Vonnie, what's up, Vonnie? When the ambulance arrived and it admitted that they had given CPR and has done chest compressions on him. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that would scratch. Oh. So, well, let's keep reading, because maybe she is going to go into that, what could cause the womb to scratch open, because now I can see that if they doing chest compressions, yes, it's doing this right here. Okay, so that's why they brought up the elasticity. Where is it? I know I just saw that word, elasticity. Hold on, I ain't crazy now. Hold on. Oh, there you go. Depending on the layers of elasticity in the human body. Come on with it, y'all. We go get through this together. Okay. Yes, and then it penetrated the heart. So it penetrates the heart right in the middle vertical. Okay, we talked about that. The photographs, yes. The womb, the jury has just seen the womb you described. Is it survivable? She says no. I believe you told me that the only way to survive a womb like that, to be part of the heart, is to have it pre-sutured, correct? She said yes. Basically, what does that mean? He would have to be on an operating table with his chest open, with a surgeon over him ready to suture the heart. And even then, it may not work, correct? She says correct. And did you find signs of internal bleeding? She says yes. Let me show you. When we visited, I think I showed you the actual boot poker that was recovered in the case. Do you remember that? She says yes. Let me show you what's in for demonstrative purposes only as state 88. And I will represent to you. I don't know if you remember, but this is an exact, y'all, here you go. So they did bring, I don't know if you remember, but this is an exact duplicate of the knife I showed you earlier, the actual knife, a duplicate of the knife? She says yes. Is this type of knife and a type of blade capable of making the wounds you observed? She says yes. Okay, it is blank. Nothing inconsistent with the blade and the wound. No, inconsistently. Complete consistent, yes. And is a knife like this considered a deadly weapon in the state of Texas? She says yes. And we also have some legal terms you are familiar with the legal term of act clearly dangerous to human life. Yes. Is stabbing someone with a knife like this in the region of the womb you observe, is that an act clearly dangerous under Texas law? She says yes. Let me pause. Now this is the medical examiner's, Dr. Elizabeth Ventura's testimony on the oath. Keep this in mind. Also keep in mind, if you saw last night live, all of the officers said that the Leatherman or the tool or whatever Karmelo Anthony had was legal. So what are they talking about? So are they talking about the knife that the other person had? Let me keep going. Because I think Jane right here, I'm still looking to see where the medical examiner talked about the two wounds. Mike Howard talked about the two wounds in closing arguments. Did she forget that part of Mike Howard's closing arguments? I think the prosecution also mentioned two wounds, but I could be mistaken. But I'm looking for the two wounds entry. But I know that even Mike Howard said the officers said that whatever Karmelo Anthony had was legal. The prosecution didn't say that it was a legal tool or whatever he had either. He just said it was improper for him to have it at the stadium, but it was legal in the state of Texas. So what they're talking about another weapon, y'all. They're talking about another weapon. But let me keep reading. I'm just thinking while we go through this whole entire transcript. And a knife like this is consistently deadly weapon in Texas. Y'all, they talking about another weapon here. Is stabbing someone with a knife like this in the region of the womb you observe, is that an act clearly dangerous under Texas law? Yes. Finally, let me finish up with just two questions for the record. The official cause of death of Austin Metcalf was what? The results of the stab wound to the chest. Okay. And the manner of death in this case was what, doctor? Homicide. Mr. Wiki, I passed the witness. Hang on, Mr. Shook. It is on. I think so. Yes, it is, sir. Thank you, cross-examination. Now we're going to get into the cross-examination because, hold on, something is missing from this because the prosecution, and if I have to pull up number 8, I'll pull up volume 8 again. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me pull up volume 8 because it was the prosecution that talked about the impalement theory from the medical examiner. And I still haven't seen it. Let me see here. I'm gonna keep going, but please somebody remind me to bring up volume 8 again because the prosecution didn't like the fact that the Dr. Ventura brought up the impalement theory. Oh, we finna go through this. Hold on. Let's see here. Here go cross-examination by Mr. Shook. I have a few questions for you, Dr. Ventura. In your reports and in the drawing, if I could see, is that over here? You listed the wound being oblongly oriented. Yes. Can you explain? And I believe you said from left superior to right inferior. Could you explain to the jury what you meant by that? Yes. So, and you're right. You are so right. Who said that? Free Marcelo Jackson. Now knowing what the agreement was behind the scene, all this was performative. Now I don't know if the medical examiner was on it, but we know that the prosecution, Shook, Mike Howard, and the judge had a secret agreement going on behind the scenes. So they was just really just playing the roles of, I don't know about the medical examiner, but I'm just saying everybody else, when they want to do a cross-examination, they playing their part. But let's keep going. Could you explain to the jury what you meant by that? Yes. So the point of the body to the left side of the body on the diagram is a little bit higher position on the body. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's see. This side, yes. So that is the superior angle of the defect. It is higher up from the head, and the opposite side of it is more inferior. So it is just giving a description that the wound did not enter the body horizontally. Hold on. So it's just giving a description that the wound did not enter the body horizontally, completely horizontally, or completely vertical. It has a little bit of an angle on it. So that is the picture I showed you. And obviously in your career, have you seen all different type of angles where the knife wounds penetrates body? She says yes. With this, is it where the cartilage of the sternum comes together with the ribs? She says yes. Okay. Did it go through bone or just part of the cartilage? The cartilage. Is that near the sternum? She says yes. You estimated it is exactly the depth of 2.5 inches from penetration of the wound. Is that as best as you can get? She says yes, it is approximated. Okay. Do you feel it is pretty accurate though? She says yes. As far as sometimes you get asked questions about how much force was used to cause an S wound, do you not? She says yes. Do you have a way of measuring force for a knife wound? She says no. Keep that in mind. Okay. Obviously, a stab wound to the skull or something would be redacted. You need a whole lot of force for that. I think we're finna go there, y'all. Correct. One indication would be if you know, or if the police, let's say, know the weapon, they are in possession of the weapon that caused it. In the case of blank, let's just say you have 4 inches depth stab wound, but the weapon that caused the wound is only 2 inches in length. Does that indicate a lot of force was used to cause a particular wound knife? She says yes. It could mean that the person pressed down. Oh, here we go, y'all. Yes, it does mean that the person, yes, it could mean that the person pressed down on the body in order to make it go deeper inside the body than the length of the blade. Okay, let's keep going. And do you see that sometimes in chest rooms, she said, yes, sir. It is because if somebody was blank used a lot of force to make a stab, it can push the ribs and the body down, which causes the knife to go deeper in the body with great length. Hold on, let's pause. Hey, I think she about to go into the impalement case. If not, this would have been the perfect time to go into the impalement case, because we all saw that when Karmelo allegedly hit Austin in the chest, he ran away. Karmelo Anthony did not stand on top of Austin and push it down and put pressure on it. Just let me keep going. Do you see that sometimes in chest rooms? Yes, sir. Is that because if somebody was using a lot of force to make a blank, it can push the ribs and the body down, which causes the knife to go deeper into the body at greater length? Correct. And that would be an indicator of a greater force. Correct. In this case, the knife in question has been measured at 3.5 inches for the blade, and your best approximation is that 2.5 inches of depth for the room. Yes, that is approximation. Okay. And so this isn't the situation that we just talked about. Oh, look. So this is Mr. Shook. He said, okay. And this isn't the situation we just talked about, where you see it is a clear indicator of a lot more force, where the blade goes longer than the wound goes longer than what the actual blade is. Yes, that is possible. Okay. And you said, I believe you couldn't tell which side of the edges of the wound Which side of the blade redacted caused the injury? Correct, because they were both described as sharp. Case, when you finally find, or your findings were it was front to back, is that an indicator that the knife was straight in and out? Answer, it is an indicator that when it entered the body, it only, it only went front to back. It only went front to back. Whoa. Hold on, no. Hold on, y'all. Let me get this right. So, question, Mr. Shook said, you have seen different blanks, different kinds of knife injuries in autopsies over the years, where you say you could see them being lateral, or you can see how they cut through the body depending on how the person may be swinging the knife or striking a body. Yes. In this case, when you finally find, or your findings were, in this case, when you finally find, or your findings were, it was front to back, is that an indicator that the knife was straight in and out, straight in and then out? Then she answers, it is an indication that when it entered the body, it only went front to back. It went front to back. It only went front to back. It didn't go in and out. It went front to back. Y'all got to explain to me in the chat, what does it mean, front to back? How does a knife go front to back? Front to back. Okay, okay. You have seen also bodies that have come in that a person died from a poker wound, and there may be many knife wounds on the body. She says correct. Let's keep going then. Let's keep going then. Have you seen bodies where there are penetration wounds that cause death, but also slashings on the arms and the hands and things like that? She says yes. But in this case, it was one single knife wound that went front to back. Might go front to back. Front to back. Correct. Can you tell the jury how much force was used to cause that knife? She says, no, I can't, because she said earlier she couldn't. So I'm glad she stuck with it. Depending on, does that depend also on the sharpness of the blade? It could be a factor. Okay. Factor, the sharper point of the blade is the easier knife penetrated on the body. Yes. Can you tell the jury how much force was used to cause the knife? No, I can't. Does that depend also on the sharpness of the blade? It could be a factor. And how pointed the blade is? Yes, that could be a factor. The sharper blank and the sharper point of the blade, the easier the knife penetrates the body. Yes. Mr. Shook says, okay, may I approach the witness? The court says, yes, sir. I know you get asked questions like this a lot by lawyers, but could that blank, would it be consistent if the person, the victim, was standing over the victim? Hold on. Mr. Shook seemed like he finna ask the right question. Hold on. I know you get asked questions like this a lot by lawyers, but that could. Would it be consistent if the person, the victim, was standing over the defendant, and if they were seated, let's say, on a bleacher in a stadium, okay, just in a seated position, and if the victim had come over in an attempt to remove him from that bench, throw him off that bench, whatever, grab that person, or push that person, or grab that person from front to the back, shoved him back, and that person was holding a knife between their legs and in the bag with their right hand, and they shove him back, the knife came out. If that person was over, this person put the knife up, could that have caused this type of injury? Y'all, hold on. Listen. It can cause the angle going front to back. Question, if the victim were over him in an angle that way, so it was straight on, the victim was over the body. I'm sorry. Come on, Jane. Hold on. The answer was the victim was over the body. or I'm sorry. The question was, yes, the victim was over the body. The defendant was sitting down, and if they reached in and grabbed him, forced him back, pulled out, pulled up, could the knife, and could that cause the knife if the victim just stuck the knife, if the victim stuck the knife out? Come on, Jane, you don't supposed to mess this up. God, what she said, yes. Would that be consistent? Yes. There are many possibilities because the body is in constant motion, and it's hard for me to say, but yes, they are. It can be consistent with that, but my trajectory is given in the anatomic position, so it is not the position the person was in probably where he sustained the injury. Now, this is when the defense should have told a medical examiner to stand up and let's do a scene reenactment, because Shook was on something. I think even Shook was surprised that he was about to give Karmelo Anthony the keys to get out of a free card. Hold on. I want to read this again. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Because he was getting somewhere. He was getting somewhere. Shook was getting somewhere. Hold on. Shook was getting somewhere. Okay, right here. Okay, he was getting somewhere. I think even Shook surprised him and said, hold on, let me back off. Whoa, let me back off. Hold on, I'm gonna get Karmelo Anthony off. I think he had back. Let's see him. So question. Have you seen different, all kind of knife injuries in autopsies over the years? When you say you could see them being lateral, or you could see how they cut through the body depending how the person may be swinging the knife or striking the body. She says yes. In this case, when you finally find, or your findings where it was front to back, is that an indicator where the knife was straight in and then out? She says it is an indicator that when it entered the body, it was only front to back. Okay. You have also seen bodies that have come in that a person passed away from knife wounds, and there could have been many knife wounds on the body. She says correct. Okay. You have seen bodies where there were penetrating wounds that caused death, but also slashing wounds to the arms and the hands and things like that. She says yes. Okay. But in this case, it was just one single knife wound that went front to back. She says yes. Okay. You can't tell the jury how much force was used to cause the knife sick. She said, no, I cannot. Does that depend also on the sharpness of the blade? She said it could be a factor. Then the question was, how pointed is the blade? She said, yes, that could be a factor. The sharper, blank, and the sharper point of the blade, the easier the knife penetrates the body. She says, yes. Okay, Mr. Shook said, okay, may I approach the witness? Here we go, y'all. The court says, yes, sir. Question. I know you get asked questions like this a lot by lawyers, but could that, redacted, would it be consistent if the victim, Austin, was standing over Karmelo Anthony? If they were seated, let's just say on a bleacher in a stadium, okay, just in a seated position, and if the victim, which was Austin, had come over in an attempt to remove him from the bench, throw him off the bench, or whatever, grab that person, or push that person, or grab that person from the front to the back, shoving back, and that person was holding a knife between their legs in the bag with their right hand, or they shove them back, the knife came out. Oh. And in the bag with their right hand, and they were shoved back, and the knife came out. Oh. So at the same time, hold on. So this actually could be aligning up with Hunter said. When Hunter said we grabbed his book bag, and then Hunter said, but it was an accident. I can't speak. What if Karmelo Anthony did have his hands in his book bag on the wound just in case, when he said, don't come in, don't touch me. And what if he had it in his bag? And he still said it, and he see these 213 pounds, 230 pounds, and he got it there, but he ain't put it out yet. What if he ain't put it out yet, y'all? Watch this right here. Watch this. Karmelo is sitting down. He got his hands in the bag, but he ain't put it out yet. But he's just in case they hit me. I got it. I just got it on standby, but I ain't put it out yet. Now, Austin, remember the witnesses said that they thought that Karmelo didn't have nothing in the bag. So that means that Karmelo Anthony did not flash it. He didn't pull it out. He didn't warn nobody. They said, but they didn't think he had a weapon in the bag because Karmelo Anthony, what is that word? What is that legal word? He didn't brandish it. So that still that mean Karmelo Anthony was still thinking like, man, this just go down. Don't be a punk. Don't let them punk it, but don't pull it out because hey, maybe they could just be joking. Because remember the prosecution. No, remember Mike Howard said that Karmelo Anthony said he didn't know if they was joking or not. So he would just had it ready just in case it get hot under that tent, right? Now what if Austin? Remember they kept saying Austin kept getting mad and more angry. And Karmelo Anthony still got his hands on it in his bag. Remember, the prosecution kept bringing up the secret. The secret is in the bag. I said, why this man keep calling Karmelo Anthony Leatherman a secret? Oh, it was a secret because the twins didn't know he actually had something in the bag. And all the witnesses said, oh, they didn't think he really had something in the bag. Y'all, this thing is coming together. So Karmelo Anthony is sitting down, even his defense is asking the medical examiner, what if the defendant is sitting down this whole time? And then so hold on. Mr. Wilkie, no. Mr. Shook is actually telling us what happened under the tent. Even though we didn't see it in the distorted video, Shook is describing exactly what happened under the tent. Karmelo Anthony sitting there with his knife, his hand on the weapon inside the book bag. Now, Austin and Hunter said, we took his book bag. So they take his book bag at the same time. Now, if the book bag is sitting on Karmelo Anthony's lap, right? With all his personal stuff in there, it's sitting on his lap. They snatched the book bag from Karmelo, not knowing when they snatched the book bag from Karmelo, they didn't know that he had the weapon in his hands that was on his lap. And when Austin went in to grab him, Austin fell on the in a seated position. And if the victim, which is Austin, had come over in an attempt to remove him from the bench, throw him off the bench, whatever, grab that person and push that person and grab that person from the front and the back. They doing this right here. They pulling on him, not knowing that Karmelo Anthony, when they snatched off the book bag, the knife was uncovered. So Austin, he punctured his own self when he was trying to bully Karmelo Anthony and assault him under the tent. That person from the front to the back shoved him back. And when he shoved Karmelo Anthony back, his body weight came down on the knife. He didn't see it in his hands. Austin did not see it in Karmelo Anthony's hands. He didn't see it in his hands. That's why the witnesses said it seemed like it was simultaneously with the shove. Because when they pushed him back, when he shoved him back, he came forward and his body weight hit the knife. God dang. Okay. Throw him off the bench, whatever, grab that person and push that person and grab that person from the front to the back, shoved him back. And that person was holding a knife between their legs in the bag with the right hand. And when they shoved him back, the knife came out. If that person were over the person, put the knife up, could that have caused the injury? Okay, I can explain that. It's all physics, y'all. It's all physics. Austin, you ungrab me. One twin ungrab the bag. The knife is revealed, but you don't see it. That's why he didn't see it, y'all, because it was too low. It was too low. And when he pushed Karmelo Anthony back, he's not paying attention what's low, right? So when he pushed him back, even though Karmelo Anthony had the knife on his lap, right? When he pushed him back, the knife by physics came up and probably hit him at the chest. But I'm going to ask the question again. Is Carmelo Anthony left-handed? That still has to be a left-handed wound. And I still think somebody came over the back of Austin. But let's keep reading. But I get what he's saying. So really, Suge is telling what happened under the tent. Y'all, I know I'm having a hot flash. The knife came out, and if the person was over this person, put the knife up, could this have caused the injury? It can cause the angle going back and forth. She said it can cause the angle going back and forth instead of in and out. Basically, they just told us what happened under the tent. It can cause the angle going front to back. So if this is Mr. Shook, so if the victim was over him in an angle that way, so it was straight on, the victim was over the body. I'm sorry, come on with it. Come on, Jane. Yes, the victim was over the body. The victim was sitting down. If they reached in and grabbed him, forcefully pushed him back, pulled up, could that cause the knife? If the victim just stuck the knife, if the victim stuck the knife out, yes. That would be consistent. She says yes. There are many possibilities because the body is in constant motion. And it could be hard for me to say, but yes, there are. It can be consistent with that. But my trajectory given in an anatomic position, so it is not a position to where a person was in, probably because when he sustained an injury. This is when they should have did a reenactment in the courtroom, had a fake bleacher up there, however they want to position, just to show the tugging on the body.